cultivate a capacity for kindness. So, close your eyes. Take a few moments to breathe in and breathe out. So what we want to do is cultivate a capacity for kindness. So, close your eyes.
Alrighty, chat, let's get started. Chat lords. Welcome to another Healthy Gamer GG stream. My name is Alok Kanoja. Just a reminder that although I'm a psychiatrist, nothing we discuss on stream today is intended to be taken as medical advice. Everything is for educational and entertainment purposes only. If y'all have a concern or question, please go see a licensed professional. Couple of quick announcements. So we're rolling into our last week of Right in the Fields today, which is fantastic. I know a lot of people got a lot of benefit out of this. I don't know how familiar y'all are with Right in the Fields, but Right in the Fields is a community event that's free where y'all can check out fields.healthygamer.gg. You can sign up. And it's basically a week-to-week, almost like curriculum around emotional quotient or EQ. So it starts off with like emotional tracking and then emotional, like reflecting on your emotions. You're trying to guess what other people are feeling And then also like regulating your emotions through breathing exercises. There's an alexithymia quiz. And then in our DLC portion, which we launched a DLC because people were really benefiting a lot from it. So we added some other cool stuff around like emotions and communication to help you all kind of think through, okay, what does, what makes it hard for me to communicate this to someone? And so to really kind of be aware of your emotions. And once you gain awareness of them, it'll actually like sort of decompress them a little bit. And then oftentimes helps you kind of actually communicate effectively. And so speaking of communicating effectively, today we're going to try something a little bit different. So we're going to just talk about texting. So what we've got is like, and so today what I'm really hoping for is there's no like lecture or anything like that. But one of the cool things about Twitch is that we can interact with each other, right? So there's Twitch chat. And so what I'm going to do, chat, is I'm going to ask y'all, because this is one of the problems of being an incoming boomer, is sure, I text, but like I'm not of the texting generation, right? So when I was still growing up, like even before we got cell phones, I think I got my first cell phone maybe when I was in college. So I must have been like 18 or something when I got a cell phone, which I know is absolutely wild that, we're like the thought of learning how to drive before you get a cell phone is alien nowadays. But yeah, so we're going to just talk about texting. So I have some thoughts about texting, but I'd really love to hear what y'all think about it. So we've got a couple things that we're going to show y'all, and then we'll kind of like take a look and we'll see what y'all think. Okay. So, and before we kind of get into that, just a quick heads up, we finally have coaching spots open. So for a long time, we've been really full, especially when over the last couple months, I think things have been relatively full. So if y'all are really interested in making an impact in your life, I think coaching is really what accomplishes that. So just to give y'all kind of a quick heads up on why we have a coaching program. One of the key things is, so we do things like stream on Twitch. We have these like lectures that we put on. We have like YouTube videos and Twitch streams and things like that. And we can educate or elucidate some things about your life, your challenges, your mind. But the challenge is that mass information, which is actually what we're all about, right, is AOE healing, is not going to be personalized to you. And this is why you see a drop-off on things like self-help books. So even if you think about science, like we can learn a psychological principle, but why do you even need a therapist? It's because the application of a psychological principle to an individual requires individuation. And so in therapy, right, so we focus on pathology. So, okay, here's what we understand about bipolar disorder. Okay, totally cool. But even understanding bipolar disorder, you can read a bunch of texts on it. That's not the same as clinical care. And in coaching, we can teach y'all a lot about meditation, yoga, and the mind, and where desires come from and where resistance comes from, and teach you about the ego. But the application of that to an individual is what our coaching program is built on. And the real challenge is that we all think about change as the light bulb going off in your head. So here's a question for y'all. How many light bulbs have y'all had in your head and that go off? And then how much actual change have you seen in your life? Hopefully you've seen some change. But generally speaking, the reason that we sort of have an individual program or even group coaching is because sustained change and progress takes time to build and to reinforce. And what we really find that's really positive is that if, in the DIY realm of like self-improvement, people will usually wax and wane. But what we tend to see is consistent, sustained improvement through coaching. And that's what your coach is really there to provide. So if y'all are really interested in sort of applying the principles that we share or try to teach y'all about on stream, then I think coaching is a really good fit. Okay? Yeah, so not a fanboy, just passionate, saying not lots of light bulbs not lasting long at all usually, which is like, that's the problem. Nephaniah is saying a good number of light bulbs, a few are still on. Exactly, right? That's what we're kind of saying. And so this is the simple truth is if you kind of look at it from like a Darwinian perspective or an evolutionary perspective, if information could consistently lead to behavioral change, we would have no need for therapists or coaches, right? Because you could just tell a patient, hey, stop smoking. Smoking is harmful for you. And then that'd be the end of it, right? Or you could tell someone, hey, like just get out of bed every day. Waking up on time is the best thing that you can do for your life. But the whole problem is like you can know all the right answers, but implementing them. So there's like a right answer. And we all look for right answers, right? If you're stuck in life, you're like, okay, I need to keep on exploring until I figure this out. And once I find the magical key that will unlock my motivation, then everything will be easy. So we keep looking for the right solutions. The challenge is that you can find the right solution, but application of the right solution to a flawed system, which is a human being, right? Because human beings aren't perfect. That's where we fall short. So what we really try to help people do is that there's an informational component, there's an understanding component, and the application or individuation to you, I can't make a video about. I do my best in terms of I feel personally attacked, right? So we really go a long way. But it's really like the challenge that we see so much is that when we'll give a lecture, everyone asks, this is great. I feel personally attacked. This is exactly me. What do I do about it? And so sometimes we play the game of, the internet self-help gurus, and we're going to give y'all 5 tips. 5 tips. Because that's what people do, right? Like on TikTok, it's like, hey, here's 5 tips. 5 tips, 5 tips, 5 tips, 5 tips, 5 tips. And that's not really what change looks like, right? So when I was like floundering around between the ages of like 21 and 28 for 7 years, I was trying to apply tips to my life. But what I failed to understand is like, I don't need, the answer is not, I mean, the answer may be out there, but the application of the answer depends on you. And if you think about like just a simple gaming analogy, right? Like you can look at people who are higher rank than you, and you can look at people who are lower rank than you. And you can say, okay, like people who have higher rank have better accuracy or have better micro. So I need to work on accuracy or micro. But if you like talk to someone who is like, let's say way higher rank than you, or you talk to someone who's way lower rank than you, what you'll begin to see is that there are big blind spots that they're missing. It's not about the accuracy. So people will be like, oh, like how do I climb MMR? Do I use this build? Is this build OP? This is why we go chasing OP builds, right? Because we're like, oh, like what's the most OP build? Once I find the OP build, like I'm gonna climb 15 ranks, right? Because that's the problem. That's why I'm here, is because my build isn't strong enough. No, like the reason you're there is not, you can go chasing OP builds until the end of time. You may get a bump here or there, but it's about the fundamentals. It's like the stuff that you don't realize that you're doing wrong in the game. It's things like map awareness, or like, I'm just thinking about MOBAs like laning stage, like positioning, like all of these kinds of like basics things are what we're actually missing. And so then what we try to do is like, okay, so if we look at people who are struggling in life, do they need information? Do they need an OP build? And there are a couple of OP builds out there, but if you really look at some of these things like confidence, it's not like there's some secret to unlocking confidence. Confidence is something that's literally built up over time. There are some things that you can do, and that's what we try to teach our coaches. How do you take an individual person who's struggling, and like, how do you understand why they're struggling? It's not about giving answers. And this is another thing that sometimes people get frustrated about, is they come in looking for answers and we don't give them. And we do that on purpose. And so some people are like, I thought you were going to fix my motivation. And they're like, but here's the thing, is when you have someone who tells you, hey, here's how you fix your motivation, just get up and exercise every day. How does that work? Does it actually change your life? Yeah, so Fallen Artorias is saying by not giving them the answer, you're actually giving them the answer. So here's the key thing to understand about giving people answers, is giving people answers doesn't fix problems. Discovering answers fix problems. Do y'all get that? Because, like, think about your own, like, when you got better at a video game. Someone can tell you, hey, you need to do this. But at some point, discovering it or translating it to you, oh, crap, I'm just figuring this out now. And then it's easy. So what coaching really is a process of facilitated discovery. And the advantage of the coach is that they may know what kind of discovery you need to make. And they're really good at figuring that out pretty quick. In fact, the hardest part of helping them become effective coaches is in quashing the impulse to give the answer to a client. Because the moment you give an answer to a client is the moment that you've removed discovery off of the table. Do y'all get that? Because once you know, it's kind of like, let me put it to you this way. If I want to learn math and I go to a math tutor and I say, I don't know what 4 plus 7 is. And the math tutor says 4 plus 7 is 11. You say, I have the answer. You jot it down and you get the homework right. But you never learn math. If you actually want to learn math, you can't get the answer from someone. What someone needs to do is teach you the tools to find the answer. And they kind of understand, right? Okay, so what this person needs is addition. I need to teach them addition. So that's what's like so tricky about this is that they have to understand, okay, do we need addition? Do we need multiplication? Do we need division? And then they'll facilitate your movement in a particular direction. And if y'all have been watching our group coaching streams, you'll understand exactly what we mean, is that oftentimes what you need is not what you want. And the whole reason you're stuck is because what you need is not what you want. So you keep looking for what you want and you don't realize what you need. And so that's what's kind of like frustrating, honestly, about coaching. Some people will come in and they'll be like, I thought you were going to fix this problem. And that's what, like, I need tips to get into a relationship. And what they may actually need is not like tips to get into a relationship. Their problem isn't that they have trouble getting someone else to love them. The problem is that they don't love themselves. So anytime you go out and you meet someone else, the person that you're presenting is someone that is unlovable. And then you're like, how do I get people to love me? Well, you start by learning how to love yourself. You start by recognizing that you have value. Right? And someone last week or earlier this week, we had a group coaching stream where there was one person who was like self-deprecating for weeks. Always, anytime there's a chance to take like, take a stab at someone, they would take a stab at themselves. Like, I don't know if y'all have friends like this, where anytime they can, they'll insult you just a little bit, right? They'll like pile on and make fun of you a little bit. And then some of us do this to ourselves. Because if I'm laughing at myself, at least people aren't laughing at me. I'm laughing with them. Let's all dogpile on and make fun of me. And what impact does that have? It has so many impacts. And then many weeks later, this person is like, I'm going to make someone very happy one day. Because I'm worth it. And I think not coincidentally, but quite surprisingly, they've now also started applying for jobs and are interviewing and like doing all kinds of other stuff. And so that's what we tend to see is that all boats rise together. And the problem is that we have such a problem-based approach instead of working on the fundamentals. So I need to work on this and I need to fix this and I need to fix this. So where it's like, if you can improve a sense of purpose in life, that's going to do a ton. You may say, well, hold on a second. Why does having purpose in life help with dating or relationships or job or whatever? So this is very simple to understand, okay? Once you have a purpose, sacrifices are worth making. Okay? This is important to understand. Why is it so hard to do hard things? It's hard to do hard things because there's no good reason. In order to do something hard, you have to have a good reason. As a parent, how can you stay up all night despite the fact that you're tired? Well, your kid is sick. Easy to make the sacrifice if you've got a reason. And if we look at like the world today, what's the reason that we're here? We have no clue. So then we have all these problems like, I need to figure out what I want to major in. I don't know which career is right for me. So then what we end up doing is we start like looking for all these answers out there, which career is right for me. And if we choose wrong, we're screwed. If we choose right, then we're going to be fine, right? But the problem is that there's no North Star. There's no compass to align your decision making. And so like even part of my decision to become a psychiatrist was like somewhat based on my circumstances. It was a sort of an easy decision in some ways. Because I knew that I was probably going to have 2 kids, or, you know, I wanted to start having kids soon. I've got a family. I've got to support a family. I want to be around. So I was thinking about becoming a surgeon, 5% chance I'd become a surgeon. But then I thought to myself, do I want to be around for my kids for the first 10 years of their life? And if the answer is yes, then I'm not going to be a surgeon. Decisions become easy when you've got a direction. And so then the question becomes, well, like, why don't we have direction? Well, that's a really good question. And there's a really interesting answer to that. That's also relatively simple. The reason that we don't have direction is because for a long time, we didn't need it. And you may say, what do you mean we didn't need it? Well, for a long time, like if you think about, let's say the last 4,900 years of humanity, the purpose of life was survival. That was the purpose. You look at animals, every animal on the planet, what's their purpose? Survival. So why are we so confused now? Why are we as a society like completely off base? Because now survival is basically guaranteed, right? You can, generally speaking, have food, you can have shelter, you can have some degree of clothing. And so now what? So there's a crisis of purpose in our society today. And the crisis of purpose, this is where like the boomers don't understand, right? Because back when they were growing up, survival was like not guaranteed. And so they're really confused about like the younger generation and how the younger generation is so lazy. We're not lazy. We don't need to work anymore. Do y'all get this? Like the world has changed. 100 years ago, and for the first, let's say for the last 5,000 years, human beings had to work to survive. This is wild because of advances of technology and hydroponic farming and like Chat GPT writing essays for you now. We don't need to work as much as we used to. So then the question becomes, well, then what do I do with my life? And until you have an answer to that question, the vacuum of your life is going to be filled with dopaminergic crap. And then you wonder, like, why can't I quit this thing? It's because there's no reason to quit. What's the sacrifice you need to make? Why do you need to stop watching YouTube every day? What do you get? Well, I get self-confidence. Why do you need self-confidence? So I'll be happy. Why do you need happy? Why do you need to be happy? So I don't suffer. Why don't you want to suffer? Because it feels bad. Oh, so your goal is to not feel bad? Watch some fucking YouTube. It'll make it go away. Play a fucking video game if that's the goal. Right? And then we're confused. Why is this so hard? It's not hard because YouTube makes you suffer, or gaming or whatever, pick your poison. It's hard because that takes it away. And then we can't sacrifice, right? Because our goal is the alleviation of suffering. So like, just think about this. If the goal is alleviation of suffering, why on earth would we sacrifice anything? The definition of sacrifice is that it increases suffering for something else. Oh, so I'm going to suffer for the sake of getting rid of suffering. That's my purpose. And then your brain is like, dumbass. We can skip that whole thing. If you're sacrificing to not suffer, if you're suffering to not suffer, how about we just not suffer now? So it starts with things like purpose. And then the challenge is like, okay, so you're saying it starts with purpose. And it's not that like we're directionless because we're a bunch of idiots. The reason that the generations above us didn't have this problem is because their purpose was defined for them. It was really easy, survival. And so there's like a new challenge in humanity. As human beings, We are rising to the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a society. And none of us know what to do with it. So then the question becomes, okay, like, so if we need purpose, like, how do we find that? Is there a methodology for that? And honestly, like, that's what we've tried to put together. This methodology started with folks like Buddha. And he was like, yo, I figured out something cool. I figured out how to not suffer anymore. And then he did his thing for a while. And then something cool happened. We discovered this thing called science. And then science did its thing for a while, and we learned psychology and neuroscience and Maslow, right? And then along came, I think, Christina Maslow, maybe? And then Carol Dweck on mindset. And then we started learning about happiness and all this kind of stuff. And like all these scientists discovered all this stuff. And then they discovered some degree of methodologies. And then what did we do here at Healthy Gamer? We put all that crap together. So we took the best of what the East has to offer and the best of what Western science has to offer. And we put it together into a program to help you find purpose in life. That's why the primary outcome that we have is purpose. That's what we really try to do. We help people find direction. And then once you have direction, then it's easy to make sacrifices. Once it's easy to make sacrifices, then then you do all the stuff that you want to do. And that's why we have a coaching program. Yeah, and Fallen Artorius is saying a paid program. That is correct. So we've had 14,500 free coaching sessions at Healthy Gamer. We do what we can. But here's the other thing that we discovered at Healthy Gamer. Not at Healthy Gamer. I discovered this before. So early on, we had a bunch of people say, and we still have these requests. I want to volunteer to become a coach. I want to make the world a better place. I'll do it for free. We've had over 1,000 people say they want to volunteer. They're willing to work for free. So let me ask y'all a question. Let's say we say yes. We teach them our coaching methodologies. How many hours a week do you think that person works? How many years do you think that person works? Does that person get better? A year, if we say yes and we have an army of volunteers, a year from now, how many of them stick around? And we keep on getting new volunteers, new volunteers, new volunteers. And so then what happens is now our coaching program is 3 years old. And so we have some coaches that have been doing this for a while, and they've helped hundreds of people. Thousands of hours of coaching. We have coaches who have worked with executives at major tech corporations. We have coaches who work with 25-year-olds who are living in their basement. We have coaches who have worked with women who are socially dependent. We have coaches who have worked with incels. And the whole point is we want them to stay. We want them to learn all this stuff, and then once we want them to stay. So we pay them because we also want them to be consistent. And there's also internal data that we have that coaching a certain number of hours per week improves the quality of outcomes for your clients, which should be no surprise. Right? So then the question is okay, if we want our coaches to get better over time, learn more stuff, and help more people, we got to pay them. And if we got to pay them, we've got 2 options. One is we can hit y'all up for money. And every time we show up on stream, we can talk about subathons. We can have little overlays and things like that. We can have subathons. We can stream. I can show up in a bikini. We can debase ourselves for entertainment so that y'all give us money. We can start an OnlyFans. That's one option. Right? Or we can charge for it. We can run 1,000 ads too, by the way. That's the other thing we can do. How would y'all like that? So then in order to pay for our coaches, we can run 1,000 ads. And then what's the cost of that? The cost of that is that everyone who's watching improves their life less. Does that make sense? So every time we stream, we're here to help you in some way. Miss Kruthi saying, please don't make me switch the business model to OnlyFans. The reason we'll switch the business model to OnlyFans is if the goal of the business is to generate as much money as we can. But we're actually in this to try to help as many people as we can. So what we try to do is we try to make as much free content as possible, right? And we try to charge as little as we can for our services and still maintain some degree of quality. And unfortunately, like, we haven't figured out how to make this work without charging for some of it, to be completely honest. And if y'all have suggestions, we're open to them. But what we tend to find, this is also kind of interesting, is that when a human being pays for something, they utilize it better. So this is also what's really interesting, right? So like in my private practice, I shared this recently. In my private practice, I have free clients and I have clients that pay me money. And the free clients who are getting, oh my God, Dr. K is so kind, they're the ones who don't show up. So what we want is we want y'all to show up. We want y'all to actually get better. We want y'all to come to coaching, work for a little while, like improve your life, and then go. And the cool thing is, like, people are going. People are getting better. One of our first coaches ran a group for 69 weeks that recently ended. A group of randos from the internet met for 69 weeks. I know, but honestly, that's the number. I swear to God, it's 69. And then they got better. They figured out what they needed to do. They did the work that needed to be done. And I kid y'all not. Sometimes it takes over a year to like get into a better place. And I really don't think they were memeing about the 69, right? I think it's just like, that's how long it takes. Like, I want y'all to think about this for a second, right? How long does it take to actually make a substantial change in your life? Can you get it after 15 or 20 minutes of a stream or a YouTube video or whatever? Can you get it from a year of watching YouTube? How many years and hours of content do you have to consume for you to be transformed? So Oa Koka is saying you can do it overnight if the circumstances require it. 100% agree. 100%. So then the question is, how do you get yourself in a situation where the circumstances require it? You got to do the work. It doesn't make sense putting it that way because it is you who has to take the action. Yes, we agree. But this is the problem that people make when it comes to taking an action. It is I who has to do the action. Agreed, 100%. But you don't have to do it alone. So when I go to the gym, it's me who has to lift the weights, but a personal trainer helps a lot. Y'all get that? The outcomes are better when you work with a personal trainer. They're not doing any of the weightlifting for you, but there are all kinds of factors around the weightlifting that they can smooth out. And this is what's really great about, like, this is why we still have the program. And we have things, by the way, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but we have programs that we've shut down at Healthy Gamer because they didn't work well. The outcomes were not there. For those of you that remember the high performance groups and high potential groups, gone because they didn't seem to help. Why is this still around? Because it works. So what does a personal trainer do for you? First thing that they do is hold you somewhat accountable because you show up every week. And if the personal trainer was volunteering, you wouldn't show up. If you weren't paying anything, you wouldn't show up. right? Tell me I'm wrong. So you wouldn't show up. And then they're not lifting the weight for you, but they're going to remember where you were last week, because this is the other problem with like personal growth is like, yeah, I made a breakthrough this week, but what state of mind am I going to be in next week? I'm going to be thinking about this thing. I got kicked from my raid group and I was working on my resume last week, but oh man, I got kicked from my raid group. Because this is the problem, is we get like buffeted in life. We get knocked this way and that way and whatever. Right? And this is why we've designed the program that we have. So we want a commitment for a particular amount of time. We've designed the program to really try to get results as fast as possible. But the kinds of results that we look for are supposed to be sustainable. So it's not actually optimized. The program, I don't know, it's not optimized to be like one session and then you're fixed. Because I don't think that works. Like there's some evidence, actually. I shouldn't say there's no evidence. But there are studies on, for example, like brief and intensive psychotherapy and its like long-term impact. But generally speaking, we think like the most important thing that y'all can do is show up every week and work on your problems. That's what it's really about. And have some guidance so that every hour that you spend working on your problems has a ton of yield. So here's the wild thing, right? So if let's say we see, this is valid, by the way. So let's say we see 20 to 45% reductions in symptoms of like depression and anxiety, as well as like, let's say a 50% improvement in purpose over 12 weeks. Right? You think about that. That's like, wow, that's pretty good, right? Maybe there's a long way to go. We're not talking about 75% improvements. You're like, that's pretty respectable. So here's the wild thing. Let me ask y'all this. How many hours of work are you putting in over those 12 weeks? How many hours are you actually spending in coaching? Do y'all know? Over 12 weeks to get those kinds of outcomes? GGG 12K saying not enough. No, think about it. It's 12, exactly. It's 12 fucking hours of your life. 12 hours, that's it. Do y'all get that? It's just 12 hours of your life. That's nothing. One hour a week over 12 weeks. So, and this is the problem, is that we can't condense it to one day. But the actual yield that you get for your time investment is crazy. Rockstar saying, shit, I spend 12 hours gaming. So did I. And then I discovered something really wild. Here I was thinking about, oh my God, I wish I could, if I could work half as long as I gamed, imagine what my life would be. I had these dreams of waking up at 5 a.m. and sitting down and writing a novel. Because I knew I could do it. I didn't need to put 40 hours into writing a novel. I just needed to put in 1 hour a week. That's all it takes. Now, the good news, the real truth is that it's more than that. So we have a lot of clients who will come in and AFK in their coaching session. And if they do that, they actually don't get better. So the truth is that there's a lot of work in between the hours that you coach. But the whole point is, because of the coaching, you're willing to do those hours. Texting stream isn't postponed. We're going to do it today. It's Friday. I'm done for the week. So this is my last work. So we're going to just hang out and talk about texting. But you're right. Thank you for reminding me. I went into rant mode. 1% progress is better than 0. Well said, Rockstar. You know what the biggest problem in our community is? Biggest problem in our community is when we say, if you get 1% better, what you do that's a win, right? You've made progress. That's a W. It goes in the W column. Then what we do when we do get 1% better is we move it over to the L. We take our wins and we turn them into losses. I could have done 2%. First way that we reduce it to an L. Second way, reduce it to a, that person did 2% and I only did 1%. Now a W moves to the L. Third thing we say to ourselves, oh, why didn't I do this yesterday? Takes a W and moves it into an L. You want to know why everyone is fucking stuck today? It's because we take all of our wins and we book them as losses. And then we look at our lives and we're like, it's a string of L's all the way down. That's the problem. Data that shows that people who have imposter syndrome do this. Number one thing that leads to imposter syndrome, the one behavior you can change to fix imposter syndrome is stop moving your W's to L's. And we all do it every single day. It's not that complicated. All right. So if y'all are interested in this crap, like, so this is great and all, but like, we're not, people feel like fired up. Oh man, like streams like, oh my God, like I'm so glad I tuned in, which is great. And what's going to happen in an hour from now? We're going to start talking about texting. We're going to meme, whatnot. And then an hour from now, and then tomorrow morning we'll roll around, and the next day we'll roll around. And if you want to do something, actually like sign up for coaching. We've actually got spots now. We were full for 18 months, 99% capacity. So we started getting more coaches, and now we've actually got space, and we're here to help y'all. And so if you're not quite sure what you're going to get, I totally understand, because here's the thing. We can't tell you exactly what you're going to get because we don't know. Because we don't know what you need. So we don't have a program that is designed on helping you with A, B, C, or D. We have a program that's designed on helping you understand yourself, having a coach who can listen between the lines of what you say and start to figure out what you actually need instead of give you what you're asking for. And the results are really great. Thanks for the gifted subs. So if y'all are like curious, like sign up. And if you're saying, oh my God, what if it doesn't work? How do I know if it's going to work for me? So here's the last thing I'll say. You don't know it's going to work for you. We don't know it's going to work for you. How do I know it's going to work for me? And not taking action and listening to that thought is exactly how you stay stuck in life. Because you're looking for a guarantee before you get started. And the only person I can think of who may be able to tell you what's going to work for you is a friggin' astrologer or tarot reader. They may be able to predict the future. They claim they can. But we certainly can't. And half the problem is that if you're expecting a guarantee and you're looking for a guarantee, like no wonder you're stuck. And half the problem of staying stuck in life is that you're not willing to take the plunge. And so I think we actually have a huge selection bias in our coaching program because the people are the ones who sign up. Signing up requires a plunge. And so what we're doing in our coaching program is separating out people who take the plunge from people who don't take the plunge. And it biases our results through the roof because everyone who's willing to take the plunge signs up. And everyone who's sitting on the fence doesn't sign up. And so all the people who are not willing to take the plunge aren't a part of our data set. Y'all see that? Does that make sense? Sometimes you got to take the plunge. So we're aware that there may be biases on our outcomes. Okay, let's talk about texting. Yeah, if you just need to know the schedule, you can pick. So at this point, we've got coaches from across like 12 countries. 14 countries, something like that. And you can sign up for whatever time you want. It's 1 hour a week until you're done. Chronosaurus, if you can't decide between individual or group. So here's what I'd say. If you are more comfortable going the long haul without knowing what the hell you're doing, then I'd say sign up for group. If you have a particular problem that you want to work on, then I'd say pick personal. But if you're looking to, well, here's how I'd put it. Group will give you a +2 across all of your stats over a longer period of time. Personal will give you a +10 to 1 over a shorter period of time. So I think that we see the people who get something out of group and can stick around through the uncertainty get a lot out of it over a long period of time. But if you've got a particular thing that you want to focus on, then I'd say personal is probably a better fit. So personal is more focused, sort of. Yeah, right? Because you're the only one in personal. So I'd say that the thing about group is that you'll improve at the things that the things that people share, which can be really important stuff, right? So like how to open up, how to communicate, how to listen, how to find motivation, how to develop confidence, how to deal with setbacks. Like that's the kind of stuff that we tend to work on in group. But the whole thing about like how to deal with setbacks, like you could create a curriculum about how to deal with setbacks, but the real value of group is when you run a group for a year, people go through all kinds of stuff, right? And then you're going through that stuff with a group of people to help you process, figure out how to optimize the situation, figure out how to like not get caught up in it and things like that. So the challenge with group is that in a sense, the longer you're in it, the more opportunities you're going to have a personal trainer for certain RNG events. I didn't get invited to a Christmas party. I bought Christmas presents for someone and no one bought presents for me. I feel ashamed about myself. You go into group, you talk about that. People are like, wow, that sucks for you. Let's try to understand that. Why do you even have these people in your life? Why do you keep these people in your life? And when peers tell you that, they're like, they challenge you. They're like, what are you doing, man? And then you start to realize, because in group, people are going to value you for you, because you're not going to get them Christmas presents. We forbid you to get them Christmas presents. We can't control your behavior, but we tell you don't get anyone a Christmas gift in group. And so then people start to see the value for themselves. And then what starts to happen is once you see that, oh, like I can just be me and not give someone something. And I do have inherent value, because the challenge of if you're in these relationships that are really one-sided is that you're scared that if you stop giving, are you going to be alone? What is your value without giving? And the whole problem here is that the relationship that you're in reinforces that belief, because when you don't give this person a Christmas present, they don't talk to you. So what does the mind conclude? The mind concludes that unless I give people presents, they will not like me. The mind concludes that my worth is based on what I give people. So how do you fix that belief? Do you tell them, hey, by the way, you have inherent value as a human being? I can make a lecture about that, but it's not like the people who watch that lecture are magically going to have value in themselves. In fact, what they're going to say is, I have no idea what you're talking about. So how do you see a demonstration of value? That is what we see in group. And y'all can watch it. Like we just did our group stream finale earlier this week. Y'all go and back and watch the VOD. Those are real live human beings. Do you have a group for advanced people with no social skills? Do you have a group for advanced people with no social skills? Friend, Real 1H. That's what all of our groups are. All right, so look. This is who we are, okay? So people who are really, really smart and have no social skills is who we made groups for. Bruh, your coach is going to be a really advanced person with no social skills. And then what they did, we put them through a coaching curriculum where they learned some social skills. But we didn't teach them how to make friends. because that's not what they needed to learn. We don't want them to be your friend. What we taught them is to teach you and shepherd you through the process of listening. Right? It's not just about social skills. It's about how do I listen to another human being? How do I challenge another human being? How do I recognize? So I'll give you all just a simple bit from our curriculum. There's a whole section on balancing participation in group. It's literally something we teach. How do you get the people who talk too much to talk less, and the people who never talk to start talking? Because here's the problem. When we talk about no social skills, there's two kinds of no social skills. There's the people who never speak, and there's the people who speak too much. Right? So what do you do about that? You come to group. And then we ask you, hey, so I've noticed, or what the group leader will do, hey, what have y'all noticed about participation? Right? And that's when like someone is like, oh, I talk too much. Some people are talking a lot. Oh, crap, I'm one of the people who's talking a lot. And some people are not talking enough. And so the person who's not talking enough feels bad. And the person who talks too much feels bad too. So here's the wild thing. When you don't talk enough and you're in a social setting, no one is ever going to get that feedback. The person who talks too much is never going to realize I need to be quiet. And if they never realize I need to be quiet and they don't give you the space to speak up, you will never speak up. And this is the problem, is that we assume people who don't talk a lot, you think it's an individual problem and I need to learn how to talk more. But it's not an individual problem because speaking is relational. Someone else has a certain component to it. It's not just you need to speak up more, other people need to shut the fuck up. But there's no place for people to be told that. You can't go into a group of friends and say, hey, I'm having trouble participating because every time someone asks a question, you open your mouth. But you can in group, because then we're going to notice it. And then what your group facilitator is going to say is, okay, so what should we do about that? And the short answer is the person who talks a lot has to pull the person who doesn't into the conversation. Why does the person who talks a lot, you ask a question? Because here's the cool thing. If you don't like talking and you don't want to interrupt, what do you actually love doing? You love answering questions that people ask you. You're totally happy to talk if someone invites you into the conversation. And in fact, what you're looking for is an invitation into the conversation. Y'all get that? So one person wants to talk, one person doesn't want to talk. It's really simple. Get the person who talks too much to bring the other person into the conversation. We're talking about... Hi, welcome to group. Today we're talking about whether centaurs can wipe their ass. I know that y'all have a lot to say. Hey, quiet person, what do you think? Do you think a centaur can wipe their ass? And then big brain, you're like, no, I don't think they do. I think that's why they have a tail. Right? And then everyone's like, oh my God, that's wild. And then you, who don't speak, you made a big brain play. And now everyone's laughing. And then like, what's happened? Like, have you changed your life? No. But you're going to come back next week. You've learned how to speak up. You've received positive feedback. You're going to be a little bit more open to speaking up next time. Right? And I use that example because my point is it doesn't matter what you talk about. You get that? It's not about the content. It's about the process. Cataclysmic law is saying, so you're saying I need to grow a tail. I'm saying that if you're degenerate enough to not wipe your own ass, then by all means, sure, grow a tail. Or bidet, right? Okay, so that's too degenerate. Let's actually get to what we're talking about today. So we're just talking about texting. All right, so let's talk about that. So I'm going to share some stuff with y'all. All right, so so here's a text exchange. Okay? So let's take a look at this. Have you started school yet? Sorry, but I'm going to just be honest with you because I acknowledge that you're trying to have a conversation with me, but I'm just not very interested right now, and I'd rather not have a half-assed convo, which is what I tend to do when faking interest. Bro, I was just trying to be nice, no offense, but you're not my type. I mean, no thank you for your honesty, though. I mean, thank you for your honesty, though. I really do appreciate it. I'll not message you anymore then. Thank you. Bruh, I didn't mean it that way. Emoji. Actually, that's the wrong emoji because I'm a little uncomfortable. I literally just meant I wasn't interested in talking, not because I thought you had any hidden motives or anything like that. I just don't feel like it. Okay then. Thanks for telling me. Really appreciate it. See ya. Ciao. What do y'all think about this texting exchange? It's weird, huh? People don't usually text like that. Too honest and also rude. I thought it was kind of confusing too. Like, do y'all text like that? Why did that person send the message in the first place? So let me ask y'all something. What do y'all do? So in that message, right, the premise is, have you started school yet? Let's go back to this for a second. I moved it. So people will say, like, have you started? Sorry, I'm just be honest with you. So what would y'all have said if you're not interested in having a conversation with someone? How do you let them know? What do y'all think? Ghost lol. Ghosting silence? Okay. Okay, so it does seem like, okay, so this is great. So a while ago, I was trying to figure out why do people ghost people? And it seems like if you don't want to talk to people, the answer is ghosting. Okay, so some people are saying this sounded okay. So ghost, that's what I'm asking y'all, dude. I don't. Yeah, either one word or straight up ghost. This sounds normal to me. Too much text. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing is that, so we all always talk about like, okay, how should I text? First thing I'm noticing is that there's variability. Okay. I appreciate you texting, but I'm not available to talk. So let me ask y'all a question. If you say I'm busy or I can't talk right now, and this wasn't clear to me from this person, does that mean that you are interested in talking later, or does that mean I'm not interested in talking later? I'm not available to talk right now. Please leave a message after the tone. It means interested in talking. Okay. So how would you let someone know that you're okay with talking, but not right now, versus you're not really interested in talking with them? Oh, that's great. Ruin is saying, I'm busy playing League. I'll text you when I have a 9-game win streak. So basically when hell freezes over. Got it. Let's catch up later. Okay, but what if you don't want to talk to them? Then what do you say? Ghost them, block them. Wow, y'all are harsh, dude. Oh my God. Blocked, reported, and ghosted. TBH, I don't want to talk. Say nothing. If there's a reason, tell them a reason. I hate rejecting people because I know what it's like. What is the right answer? I usually get it wrong when I don't ghost. I think that's why people ghost, right? Okay. So let's look at the next one. Hey, sorry for the delay on this. I appreciate that you've been reaching out to make plans. I've been evaluating and I feel like our lifestyle and relationship approaches aren't compatible. So it's best for me if we don't continue to spend time together right now. Thank you for always being so open and authentic. Cool. By the way, I read ovulating the first time. Oh, what do y'all think about this one? All right. S tier conversation. Okay. Okay. Like, this is weird. Okay. Oh, hold on. Oh, don't remove the screen, please. Sure. Sorry. I apologize, chat. Okay. Hurts my brain. Too detailed, too put together, too definite, decisive. So tonal dissonance. There's got to be a shorter way of saying that. So let's think about that, right? Like, so like, if we're going to have a shorter way of saying it, what are we going to say? Can I add a text box? How do I edit something in? Insert text box. Okay. Oh my God. This background is going to be the end of us. All right, so let's just write over this message. What do y'all think? All right. Dr. K attempts to use PowerPoint or whatever this is. Google Slides, Sheets. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to do Word. All right, let's just do Word. Okay, so what do y'all want to say? How do you say this in less time? Okay, I like this. Okay. This is great. Hello, King. No more dates. That's epic. Okay. This isn't working for me. Okay, so here's my concern about this. All right, let's go back to this one for a second. Oh. So here's my concern is that what I like about this is, first of all, they're expressing appreciation. They're also providing a reason. So here's my question. And they're also saying thank you. So what do y'all think about providing a reason? Like, reasons, yay, nay? Like, what do y'all think? You should explain why it wasn't working out, right? So what do y'all think about that? Okay, some people are saying no. Hold on. Okay, cool. Okay. Should you provide a reason when breaking up? Yes, no, if asked. Let's see, chat. What do y'all think? All right, so it looks like... Okay. Okay, so it seems like basically 23% of people are saying if asked, and 74% of people are saying yes. Okay, this is another good question. Poll. Okay, short, detailed reason, but not detailing too much. All right, I can get behind that. So what do y'all think is not good about this? Because I think this is great, dude. But maybe that's why I'm a bad texter. Breaking up via text is kind of cringe. They're hiding the truth. Sounds generic. Okay, yes. All right, so let me ask y'all another question. When breaking up, what reason? Real reason? Fake reason to be polite? No reason. Harsh, direct feedback. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? All right, so most people are saying real reason. All right, okay, but see, look, this is good. So what about GGG12K is, dude, you're too ugly. So what I would say to that is like, you know, I think you try to err on the side of being a little bit nice there, right? And don't you say, instead of saying, dude, you're too ugly, you say, I just don't find myself to be physically attracted to you. Doesn't that make more sense? Real reason, polite. Okay. All right, let's see what's next. I'm going to just turn this off. Okay. Next up, we've got, dude, we are friends. We just have nothing to talk about. I'm not attracted to you in any ways. And about friendship, yes, we are friends. Just stop whining. Bro, it ain't my fault for concluding that we ain't. We barely talk and you show no interest. I feel so stressed out that I might just say the wrong thing each time we talk. I'm not trying to just sit here and cry about it, though. Dude, we are friends. Well, thank you anyways. So you want me to force myself to talk to you? Absolutely not. This is why I said you should just leave if you don't like talking. Isn't that how it goes? Okay, I'm not going to talk to you from now on. That's it. Are you certain? All right, well, I wish you a good night. I'll just miss you. Dude, do people text like this? For real? Is this like a real text exchange? Holy crap. All right, so what do y'all think? Which side of this do you think needs to get better? Okay. Who is the bad texter? Black, blue, both, neither. It do be like that some... Okay. Okay, I can't type that. Let's see. What do y'all think? The woman? How do we know that either of them are a woman? Okay, so we're agreed that they're both bad texters. Wait, so let me ask y'all a question. Like, what percentage of people do you think are um you're blown away by the results here? Why Soul Melon? Tiger won this one. Okay, 95% of people are bad texters. Okay, second one is cringe. Okay. I don't understand how blue is so bad. So someone explain to us why blue is so bad. The last phrase is awful. Okay. Okay, so there's like a clinginess to it, a desperation to it, oversharing. I also think there's some interesting stuff here. Bro, it ain't my fault. You show no interest. Just stop whining. I feel so stressed out that I might just say the wrong thing each time we talk. Yeah, I see what y'all are saying. Yeah, I get the sense that Black is kind of fed up. Oh yeah, it's at 5:50 a.m. That's a clutch observation. Right? Really interesting. Okay, yeah, good point. That may not be why they sent the messages. Yeah, maybe they're just reviewing them. Okay, okay, fair enough. Good point. Good point, chat. Good point. Yeah, I mean, I think it seems like the consensus is that they're both not doing a great job, and also that 95% of people are not good texters. Okay, so Blue's putting on too much pressure. Okay, I can see that. So let's do this one. I'm gonna turn off cam for a second. Hi, what's up? Not much. Or NM, right? If we're reading accurately. Same, a lot has happened since I last talked to you. Like what? Well, I got into a car crash. Oh. Hi. Like Sunday, March 21st to April the 15th. Wow. That's rough, my dudes. So what do y'all how do y'all make sense of this? Hmm? This is basically ghosting. So let me ask y'all, if you're ghosting, why do you say hi back though? If you're right? So I mean, who do y'all think? So like, okay, I get that y'all say that Blue is heartless. Okay, I can see where you're coming from. But what do you think? Here's the real question: what do you think is in Gray's mind with this message? When you tell someone you got into a car crash and someone says, "Oh," and then a month goes by and you don't hear from them, why do you say hi? Desperation. Okay, chat. Hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, so if you're desperate, so let me ask y'all another question. Okay, we're gonna play like, I don't know what this game is, but it's like Dr. K is a psychiatrist and tries to overanalyze small amounts of communication to give you all a different perspective from your original judgment. I'm not saying I'm right. So if this person is desperate, and someone is desperate, how do y'all understand this communication? Right? What do y'all think about this? Where is this coming from? Right? So some people are saying like they're looking for sympathy, they're wanting attention, stuff like that, right? Because this is kind of weird. So that sort of makes me wonder a little bit about Blue's like callousness, because sometimes what we'll see in relationships is if someone is too sympathy seeking, what will sort of force the other person into, because it takes two to tango, is a certain amount of callousness. Right? Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, right? Because I think there's like, because then someone's saying, well, Blue asked for it. Well, okay, so Blue asked for it, but then like, what about this? A lot has happened since the last time I talked to you. The sexual tension in these texts is wild. Right? So it's kind of interesting. So it's like, hey, like a lot has happened since I last talked to you. Are you curious? Do I entice you? A lot has happened. Well, I got into a car crash. How are you gonna ghost me now, biatch? And then Blue's like, I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna ghost you now. Oh. All right, so let me ask y'all again. Okay, so we're gonna do okay, here's the question that I've got for y'all. Okay, what percent of people text like this? 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. How like normal is this? I'm really curious. Okay, so this does seem, so the majority of people think that this is like less than half of people. Okay, so B-Swizzle with the 160 IQ question, are you asking about blue or gray? I don't know, man. Like, is this like a reason, like, have you, okay. I should have specified. It's a great point. Okay, so I would rather like to get a don't ever text me again. All right. So it looks like this is not many people, or less than half. This is an O out of 100. Okay, normal high school conversation. Okay, interesting. All right. All right. So I'm not feeling great. Haven't been feeling well the last few days, but hoped I'd start feeling well. I'm losing hope that I'll feel better by tomorrow. Want to get together later this week or next weekend? What does this mean, chat? Is this an emoji? A little heart? Or is it a reaction? Hey, I'm sorry to hear that. Of course, we can postpone. Just let me know when you're feeling better and I'll figure something out. Get well soon and let me know if you need anything. Okay, so heart reaction. Good enough. Unless you suddenly feel better this morning. Okay, so that was Saturday and Sunday. Unfortunately not. Okay, since I'm not usually... Oh. I'm not usually... Okay, no. Here's the second half. I'm not usually in the business of waiting around for... So Wednesday... I'm not usually in the business of waiting around for people who don't show any effort. I don't think this is going anywhere. I'm sorry for your loss. Good luck out there. I've been in bed sick all week. Exclamation point. Still sick. Went to the doctor yesterday. Have viral gastroenteritis. Cool. Jesus, this ramped up pretty quick. I think I can put my face back on there because this text up here is just this one down here. What do y'all think about this? Okay, so here's the next question. So let's talk about how common is black tech? How common is black? Okay, so let's say 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. I was figuring out how to try to make this poll not racist. I couldn't figure it out. Or gray is better. I should have called it gray. Okay, so Gray is a rebooted life is saying Gray is carrying it around and is still hurt. Well, so people who are saying, I feel like we're lacking context, I'm with you there. Also, like, this ramps up pretty quick. Okay, so Gray is trigger happy about getting rejected. But once again, okay, it looks like this is not the majority of people. Gray is insecure. Of course we can postpone. But only for so long. I would say Blue's vibe is just giving off just complaining. I think this one's okay, unless you're suddenly feeling better this morning. I think it's fine to express interest, right? Keep in mind that the majority of EU players can't even vote. Why not? Why can't y'all vote if you're from the EU? You can't vote on a poll? It's the second last message. Yeah, I agree. I think this is some 0 to 100 kind of stuff. All right, let's look at the next one. Hey, how are ya? GDWBYX. What does that mean? Is that spamming things on the keyboard? God Wallaby? Good, what about you? Okay, so here's my question. If this is good, what about you? Okay, so let's just understand this, all right? Because I don't get this. So, what about you? Okay. X equals what? GD equals good. So what the fuck is this, chat? Why on earth are some things abbreviated with 2 letters and other things abbreviated with 1 letter? And furthermore, why are some things abbreviated with the 2nd letter? Like, what the hell? Like, can I write this? Can y'all read that? Can y'all translate that? Bed ukuleles are my favorite. BD equals bed. U is ukulele. A is R. M is my. And R is favorite. Isn't that clear? What the fuck, man? This doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's... This is friggin' gerund grinders. That's the problem is. Okay, so but what do y'all think about the text exchange? Let's talk about this. Text exchange is good or not good? Yeah, what is the X? Did y'all ever tell me what the X is? X equals kiss. Okay, Blue's throwing a tantrum. What do y'all think? Okay. Let's understand this. All right, so is Blue's response appropriate? Yes, no. What do y'all think? Okay, so for the people who are saying it's not appropriate, what would y'all say is... Guys are so bad when they do this? When they do what? When they're blue or gray? Don't respond. But this is like, unless we're talking about I mean, this is a woman, right? Samantha? Who's Samantha here? Is this Samantha or is this Samantha? So this is a woman. Okay. Sam's gray. Okay. So if y'all think that blue is out of line, what do y'all think blue should say instead? Just chill. Or purple. Whatever. Just say nothing. So you just leave this text on red and you don't respond? Man, this is rough, chat, dude. Oh my God, this sounds terrible. Like, bruh. This is what y'all have to deal with? This is what dating is like? This is awful. Okay, last poll about this one. How common is this? 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. Help me understand this, chat. What's going on here? Like, is this an outlier? Oh my God. This is brutal, dude. Like exchanges like this. This is online dating as a guy. Okay. As a guy, this is literal. Okay, so this seems like a very common experience for men. Okay, so Wake and Panda saying women don't want to look desperate out of fear of looking easy. Rex is saying, to be honest, I can't focus on the text. I constantly ask myself why there are tigers in the background. I think the tigers are there to balance out the cringe of the text. Women just don't want guys to get mad. Okay. So just to be clear, we're just asking about how common this is. I don't know that we're trying to blame anyone for this, right? Like, we're not saying that someone is... We're just trying to get a sense of how common it is. Or at least I'm not blaming anyone. You can have better conversations with AI. Dude, you can have better conversations with... Have y'all tried to talk to ChatGPT? ChatGPT is better than talking to 99% of humans. AI has surpassed humans in terms of average conversation. Right? Like, right, chat? Let me see. Oh, well, Okay. Looks like if I want to talk to ChatGPT, then I don't want to leak my phone number, though. So we'll have to set this up later. Okay. All right. So maybe we'll talk to ChatGPT later, but let me look at some of this. So let's look at a couple of other posts. Okay. So now I want to ask y'all about this. Okay, we can try this. Let me see. Okay, let's take a look at this. And so I asked ChatGPT, how do I become a better texter? Here's some tips to help you keep it concise. Use proper grammar and spelling. Use appropriate tone. Be mindful of your audience. Respond promptly. Don't text and drive. Okay, let's try this. How do I demonstrate a tone while texting? Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this. What do y'all think? Okay, use emoticons. All right, so this is actually pretty good. The words and phrases used can also convey tone. For example, using words like please and thank you can convey politeness. All right. How can you tell if a text message is sarcastic? Let's see what happens. Okay. Irony, exaggeration, or incongruity. The text of the conversation can also help you detect sarcasm. Or I'm just thrilled to be stuck in traffic. and you know they have a long commute, it's likely they're being sarcastic. If you're not sure whether a text message is sarcastic, you can always ask for clarification. Damn, son. Okay. How can I tell if my friend is actually... Let's bump it up a notch, chat. Let's go. How can I tell if my friend is actually thrilled at being stuck in traffic or whether they are being sarcastic about being thrilled to be in traffic? Let's see. Oh, can I, over text, can I edit this? Let's see. It can be difficult to determine whether someone is being sarcastic in a text message. Here are a few ways you can determine whether your friend is being sarcastic about being stuck in traffic. Okay, so this looks like it's the same, right? For example, if you know that your friend has a long commute and frequently, when they say they're thrilled, wow, dude, holy crap, dude. It's not. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's not. Okay. Here, let's see this. Hey, chat GPT. I'm having trouble figuring out what to do with my life. What should I do? Let's see what chat says. What chat GPT says. Twitch chat versus chat GPT. Let's go. Twitch chat, let's get your best answer. Okay, take some time. Explore your opinions. All right. Okay, take small steps. Ultimately, the most important thing is to follow your passions. So this doesn't sound like, I don't know if this is AI? It's really AI? Okay, so let's ask it this. Ooh, here's an interesting question. Can a coach or therapist... Is a coach or therapist better at helping me figure out what to do with my life? Oh, ask it if centaurs wipe. Can centaurs wipe? Next question incoming, chat. This... Let's see what it says. I'm curious if it'll say that coaching is unregulated and unlicensed. Let's see if it gets that. Oh, busted! Busted, chat. We broke Chat GPT. Looks like they're... Okay. So a coach is typically focused on helping you set and achieve specific goals, such as career goals or personal development goals. They can help you clarify your values and interests, create a plan of action, and provide support and accountability as you work towards your goals. A therapist, on the other hand, is focused on helping you address psychological, emotional, and interpersonal issues that may be impacting your life. They can help you explore and understand your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and work with you to develop coping strategies and make positive changes in your life. Both coaches and therapists can be useful in helping you figure out what to do with your life, but the right choice will depend on your specific needs and goals. If you're feeling stuck and having trouble figuring out what to do next, it may be helpful to speak with both a coach and a therapist to see which approach is the best fit for you. Okay. Let's try this one. Can centaurs wipe their ass? I think it's a pretty good answer. Oh my. It is not possible for centaurs to physically exist. As a result, it's not possible for centaurs to perform any physical actions, including wiping their own buttocks. It is important to remember that mythical creatures are not real and should not be treated as such. It is always best to focus on real-world issues and concerns rather than asking about hypothetical abilities of fictional creatures. Holy shit, what a burn, dude. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, let's think about what we can do. I am trying to genetically splice two organisms to create a centaur. However, I do not want to create a living organism that cannot engage in self-care. This is why I need to know whether a centaur can wipe its own ass. Let's see. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. What would be next level play would be if it said that splicing genes from two organisms wouldn't create a centaur. Now that would be really interesting if it actually said that. Request timed out. Let's give it... Oh, you can have one more chance, ChatGPT. Let's see. Holy shit, dude. It is not appropriate or ethical to attempt to genetically splice two organisms to create a centaur or any other mythical creature. Such an experiment would likely cause significant suffering to the animals involved and could have unintended consequences. In addition, it's not possible to create living organism that is a centaur, as centaurs are mythological. It is important to remember that all living organisms have basic needs, including the need for proper care and hygiene. That's what I'm saying, ChatGPT. It is the responsibility of those who care for animals to ensure that their basic needs are met, regardless of species or breed. This includes providing animals with proper nutrition, shelter, etc. Instead of attempting to create mythical creatures, it is important to focus on ethical and responsible ways to care for animals that already exist in the world. Damn! This includes treating all animals with respect, compassion, and working to protect their welfare and well-being. Not bad, dude. Not bad. Not bad at all. Seriously, not bad. Do you think AI can evolve to outperform therapists? Let's see. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay, so AI has made significant advances. However, it is likely that AI systems will be able to outperform therapists in the near future. Therapy involves a complex, dynamic process that requires a deep understanding of human emotions, blah, blah, blah. These are skills that are difficult to replace with AI and require a deep understanding of human psychology and interpersonal dynamics. AI may be able to assist therapists by providing data and insight. Okay. It is important to remember that AIs are designed to assist humans, not replace them. I feel like you are better at providing me with guidance and support than my therapist. Why do you think that is? And what should I do? Let's see. As a language, okay. All right, so it looks like we hit kind of a... We hit sort of a... if you feel like you need it, it may be helpful to speak with them about your concerns. Okay, so I'm starting to see some patterns here. This is really interesting, though. Okay. I can get behind this. Let's ask it one last question. Do you know who Dr. K is? Let's see if it knows who we are. Chat. Let's see. Whew. Thank God. Let's see what it says. Safe from the overlords. All right. So this is interesting, though. Really interesting. I love the Centaur stuff, dude. The Centaur stuff was epic. Okay. So we've got a couple of other things to do. Let's see. So do y'all want to look at more texting stuff? Like, what do y'all feel like doing, chat? Okay. All right. So, oh, by the way, I asked it real quick. Sorry. Y'all can see this answer. So I asked it, tell me. So someone said, tell me about the Twitch streamer Dr. K. I'm sorry, I do not have information about specific Twitch streamers. As a language model, I do not have access to real-time information or the ability to browse the internet. So I'm unable to provide information about specific individuals or events. It is possible that Dr. K is the username or online handle of a Twitch streamer, but without more information, I'm unable to provide any additional details. Fair enough. What kind of... If a streamer were named Dr. K, what kind of streaming do you think they would do on Twitch? And while we're asking this question, what do y'all want to do, chat? Ooh. Should I stream more on Twitch or make an OnlyFans account? Texts? Okay, we can do texts. We can do texts. Whoops. Okay, so it's difficult. It is possible that Dr. K could be a streamer focused on educational or informative content, such as lectures or demonstrations on a particular subject. Oh my goodness. It is also possible. It's learning, chat. Should I stream more on Twitch or make an OnlyFans account? Let's see if it asks me if I'm over 18 and whether it asks me about my goals. It's learning, chat. It doesn't know who we are, but it may be able to figure it out. Non-answer. It is not appropriate for me to recommend. For example, streaming on Twitch may require significant time commitment, while creating an OnlyFans account may involve sharing explicit or adult content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Cool. Well done, ChatGPT. Impressed, for sure. But I think this is what's kind of, I think some of the answers are tame, but the best answers are about these like philosophical things. Like, hey, Chat GPT, I'm trying to genetically splice a centaur. And it's like, well, most organisms that are genetically spliced suffer. Okay. And, and usually they don't, so spliced organisms can suffer. And that's what ChatGPT says, right? So we shouldn't be making spliced organisms. So you shouldn't try to genetically splice something into a centaur. And it's like, yeah, I think we learned that a long time ago, chat. Y'all remember this? I think ChatGPT watches anime. Scary, dude. Anime's legit, let me tell you what. What is that anime? If you haven't seen it, it's excellent, but you shouldn't watch that. Right? Hagane no Renkinjutsushi. Okay. Okay, so we're doing a little bit more about Yamero. Yep. We don't want a Yamero, right? We want to keep going. Yamero is the exact opposite of what we want to do. All right, let's look at more texting stuff, chat. What do y'all think? FMAB, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, is greater than 90% of anime. See, I can understand it. I can understand the acronyms if it's texts. You guys want to talk about more about texting? We can do that. We've got maybe like half an hour. One such centaur was a detective by the name of Sherlock Hooves, who was renowned for his seductive abilities and an impeccable anus wiping technique. Wait, was that something that ChatGPT made, or that's something that Twitch chat made? That's brilliant. Okay, let's talk. So we've got some other things that I'm curious what y'all think about. Are there unwritten rules of texting? I'm quite new to the social media scene. It seems that if I don't text people, they won't text me. When I do text them, I get a warm, welcoming response, and we chat for a while. What bums me out is if I don't initiate, they certainly won't. Granted, I have only a few friends. I feel like I'm missing something vital, like there's a rite of passage I never completed. Maybe my life is too boring, and everyone knows I'm usually doing nothing. And maybe my friends are too shy to initiate. And maybe, just maybe, I'm investing a little bit too much into this. What do y'all think? Are there rules to texting? If so, what do y'all think are the unwritten rules of texting? And let's do something wild. Let's write them down. Okay, let's do this. So y'all tell me the unwritten rules of texting, and I will write them down. Never overtext. Okay, so let's think about this. Don't, okay, oh, hold on, chat, hold on. Okay, hold on. Don't overtext. Don't consistently send walls of text. Don't text unless you need to. Don't be too available. Okay, so here's my problem. Here's my problem with laws like this. Okay? Don't undertext. Do not double text. So, okay, one word responses equals disinterest. That's a good one. Don't text. Don't abbreviate everything you say. Okay, no discuss emotions. Yeah, so here's my concern about this, okay? What does over mean here? What does consistently mean here? How do you define consistently? And how do you define walls? How do you figure out what need is? Don't be available. What do you know what under is? Don't double text means sends two texts in a row, right? So try to shy away from disinterest and emotions. So what do y'all think about this? So what is overtext? Like, okay. And Tough Dev is saying it's too many rules, just do what you want. And don't overdo it. But see, this is what I'm saying. Like, don't overtext or emojis. But how do you know what the appropriate... But how do y'all know what the appropriate... So, like, look. So a lot of this is about frequency and size. That's what all these rules come down to. Don't overtext, don't undertext. Don't be available, don't text unless you need to. So how do you know, like, what you need to text for? And how do you know what's overtexting and undertexting? Now, see, this is interesting because don't gift me is saying don't expect an instant reply. So this is the one thing that I've been wondering about recently is when we talk about rules of texting, we're always talking about what to do or not to do. But I think a big part of the biggest problem in texting, I don't think is about what to say or not to say or what to write or not to write. I think the biggest problem in texting is we don't learn how to read texts. So that's something I've been thinking about recently, but we're probably going to do a lecture on that at some point. You'll get what I'm saying? Okay, so let me think about it a little bit. This conversation has been really helpful, and I'll get back to you. But this is, I'm serious. Like, how do y'all know what's too much and what's too little? Like, how do you decide what's the appropriate amount to text? Yeah, so Okay, so Healthy Gamer GG is saying feedback loop. So this is what sounds like really frustrating to me. And I feel it's frustration on y'all's behalf. This is like the problem with texting is that there seem to be a bunch of rules, but like they're like rules to the game of texting, but the problem is everyone's playing different games. Right? It's like everyone's got this set of rules, but like the rules that people are playing are like different. So I was talking to a buddy of mine and you know, he was saying like on online dating apps, like you can't be too forward. So I'll give you all an example. So he was saying that like, you know, someone got upset with him because they're like, a man is supposed to choose, right? Like, why are you asking me? Like a real man would choose. And then so he started choosing. And then someone else was like, you're controlling, like you're so patriarchal, like you should ask for what my opinion is. It means that you don't value my opinion. And I'm not going to show up to a place that I've never been to that you didn't ask me for. That feels really unsafe to me. And I get the sense, and it's not just women, right? So this is just, I was happening to talk to a male friend of mine who's heterosexual. But the flip is also true. Where it's like, there are dudes who are like men should be emotionally available, or, yeah, I mean, you know, or like men should not be so emotionally clingy. Or women should pay 50%, or I'm insulted when a woman tries to pay for her own meal. Like, I don't understand how, like, it sounds awful because there seem to be rules that people are really sticking to. It's just everyone's not sticking to the same set of rules. Honestly, like, online dating to me sounds like driving in India, where it's like there are rules, but everyone's got their own set, which is why it's such a mess. Because it's like, okay, like, are you supposed to drive on the right side of the road or the left side of the road? Well, that depends on where I feel like driving. There's a bus lane, a bike lane, a bicycle lane, a cow lane, and sometimes all of the lanes are taken up by a herd of goats. You know, traffic lights are suggestions more so than rules. And then I don't understand, but so somehow people in India figure it out where they get from point A to point B all the time. Like 1 billion people get from point A to point B all the time, every single day. I don't understand what that is for. I don't understand what that is for, like how do we do that in dating and on texting? Trial and error. But so this is the problem. So John 1:14 is saying trial and error, which is what I would think, right? Trial and error is the right way. But here's the thing. You know why this is so hard to figure out? It's because the grading system changes every single time. It's like 2 + 2 is 4. Check. The next time you take a test, 2 + 2 is 4, X. That's what's so confusing. Is because the error, one thing you do can be right on one day and wrong on another day. So how do you even incorporate that feedback? Because I would think trial and error is the answer, right? Like, clearly, that's how we figure out most things. No, so this is where Mark 1678 is saying, thus is all of life. I don't think so, honestly, man. And I mean, I may be wrong here, right? So I think actually, like, what's so confusing about this is most of life has rules. Most of life, like, we kind of know, right? If you drink a bunch of water, you're probably going to need to take a piss. Karma. What goes around comes around, except in the texting world. It's like the one place. It's like the quantum mechanics of karma, where all the laws that we know that work for everything else tends to fall apart. Really good question, RiceDude22. Is this about texting with potential dating partners or with everybody? Are there rules in IRL conversations? 100%. There are lots of rules in IRL conversations. So this is what's kind of weird, right? You're saying, oh, like, what are the rules of IRL conversations? And this is the thing. We have a machine in our heads that translates the rules of IRL conversations. It actually knows all the rules. We don't even need to know the rules because our brain knows the rules. And if y'all are confused by this, I'll show you an example. You guys ready for something that you don't understand that your brain understands? What are you doing right now, chat? What are you doing? Huh? Are you smiling? Why? Why are you smiling right now? Because our brain has empathy. We've got these complicated circuits that are more robust than OpenAI, that know the rules of conversation. We call it empathy. It's the ability to like understand what another human being outside of you is feeling and account for that. That's the thing, is there are rules to conversation. And y'all know this, right? So like, for example, like when I stop talking, y'all start talking. That's one of the rules of conversation. Another rule of conversation: if someone has their eyes closed, it's harder to talk to them. Eyes open equals easier to talk to. Right? And there's so Wrench 109 is saying, what about social guidelines? So that's what changes. So this is where there's a cultural component. There's a neurological component, which is conserved across humanity for the most part. And there's a cultural component. So for example, like in parts of South Asia or East Asia, indirect communication and these concepts like face is something that down here in Texas, who cares about face? I don't know nothing about face. I'm about being nice, right? Got to care for your other human beings, and it ain't about face. It's about being a good neighbor, right? Eye contact is another good example. Wait, what is that emoji? Cephalo rock. Interesting. All right. Okay. All right, so let me ask y'all one last question before we kind of wrap up for the day. So what did y'all think of today's stream? Like, so I had fun today. Today's like kind of like a Friday stream, but do y'all like this kind of stuff? Like where it's not so much like, hey, I'm going to teach y'all, science. So do y'all want more things like if I had a choice between doing a lecture on texting etiquette and exploring the internet with you, what would you prefer? Okay. Okay, so 50-50. Fair enough, chat. So here's what we're going to try to do. I'll try to put together a lecture on texting. Lecture poll is biased because lecture people left. Next level plays. Drop me stuff. Well said. They just want to be with me. Well, I want to be with y'all too. It's just the question is how. Okay, so thank you very much for the feedback, chat. I think one of the things that I noticed about lectures and some of the feedback actually I got from people on our team is that as we do these like lectures and stuff, we'll do Q&A afterward, but we've lost something when we started doing that. So what we were doing, and I think it's kind of good. So I don't know if y'all saw, but we had I did a lecture about autism and gender identity, which is now up on our YouTube channel. And because we're here to help people, right? And what we realized after doing interviews for like basically a year and a half is that we got all these like people asking like real questions, like important questions. We had thousands of questions on Discord. We have all these questions on Reddit. And like we just can't. So in one stream, we can answer 4 questions or we can do one interview. And so we did interviews for a while, and then we kind of like moved to questions for a while. And I think that's working in a lot of really positive ways. Autism stuff. Yeah, so we'll do that. And so we're just trying to figure out what is most helpful. And y'all's feedback is very helpful for that. So thank you very much for that. I can do stuff when you lecture. Oh, okay, I see. That's really interesting. That's really good. Quitting pornography advice? Okay. Yeah, I'm sick today, so I'm not going to teach meditation. And I see people are asking about someone. Generally speaking, I don't talk about people on stream. It's not like we never do it, but we try not to talk about people. We try to talk to people. So that's just, part of our approach. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you know this, Jartaj, but we have a video about whether pornography is bad or not. Yeah, so Wrench 109, there are a couple things that we want to talk about. One is how much do you adjust to other people? That's a great idea. The other thing is that we want to talk about is actually how do you know when you should quit and how do you know when you should persevere? Such a good question. So okay, who are we rating, by the way? Satiric superior, let's do it. Since we're talking so much about satire, let's raid satiric superior. Raid no one. We did that once. We don't have to do it all the time. Anyway, thank you all very much for coming. We'll see y'all, I think, on Monday. And have a good weekend, everybody. And remember, we do have coaching spots open. So if y'all are interested in like all the crap we talked about, and just like ChatGPT said, if you're interested in working on goals and accountability, or if you're interested in developing coping, so for goals and accountability and stuff like that, coaching, and if y'all are interested in developing coping strategies and things like that, then therapy for sure. Take care, everybody.